Hello there, very good evening to you. Welcome to Primetime News. We are coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studio here in Colombo. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
A very good evening. I'm Joel Outskoon. Let's start off with a look at the headlines for this evening.
Sujeva Senasinghe says UNP will not support common candidate in 2020. CID requests Interpol to issue red notice on Arjuna Mahendran. Police inspector and prisons commissioner arrested for Valikada riots, remanded.
Welcome back. You're tuned on to Primetime News. Well, we apologize to all our viewers for the technical glitches which we are currently facing, but we will have all the details of the story surrounding the no confidence motion later on in the bulletin. But first, we would like to also shift your attention onto another story which is making the rounds and also a headline this evening. Now, several key judicial proceedings took place today, which include former Sri Lankan Ambassador Jalia Wickramasuriya, former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran, and the assassination of Lasantha Wickramatunge. News First, Zulfiq Farzan reports.
The case filed against former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran, Arjuna Aloysius, Kasun Palisena and Perpetual Treasuries Limited was taken up before Fourth Magistrate Lanka Jayawatna this afternoon. Both Arjuna Aloysius and Kasun Palisena were further remanded until the 12th of April, and the arrest warrant against Arjuna Mahendran was reissued by the Fourth Magistrates Court today. Meanwhile, the prosecution informed court the CID is in the process of obtaining a red notice from Interpol on Arjuna Mahendran. Today, the magistrate informed the counsels that they need to expedite the process of this case, and they highlighted the importance of suspect number 1, Arjuna Mahendran, appearing before court. At that moment, President's Counsel Kalinga Intatissa, appearing for the defendants, said that if the state is unable to bring down Arjuna Mahendran, if the CID is unable to bring down Arjuna Mahendran, they are not able to bring Arjuna Mahendran, and they wonder who can bring back Arjuna Mahendran. In response to that, that is Senior Additional Solicitor General Yasantha Kodagoda informed court, someone may bring down Arjuna Mahendran and produce him before court. The two bail applications filed on behalf of Arjuna Aloysius and Kasun Palisena with the Court of Appeal were taken up today, and court postponed further hearings to the 18th of May. The Court of Appeal today dismissed the petition filed by former Sri Lankan Ambassador to Washington Jalia Wickramasuriya regarding the waiver of diplomatic immunity, enabling US authorities to prosecute him. This is the first ever diplomatic immunity case in Sri Lanka involving a former Sri Lankan ambassador. The fundamental rights petition filed by former Sri Lankan ambassador to Russia Udayanga Weeratunga, requesting to null the order made on 60 million rupees worth of his assets and liabilities, was postponed to the 11th of April. Weeratunga is currently being detained in Dubai and is expected to be brought back to the country following high-level talks. IP Niomal Rangajiva of the Police Narcotics Bureau and Prisons Commissioner Emil Ranjan Lamaheva, who were arrested over the Valikada prison riots in 2012, were remanded until the 10th of April. Colombo Additional Magistrate Ranga Dissanayake issued the order after visiting and inspecting the condition of the suspects who have been hospitalized. The magistrate ordered the prison superintendent to call for judicial medical report with regard to the health of the suspects. Former DIG Prasanna Nanayakara, who was arrested over the Lasantha Wickramatunge homicide, was further remanded to the 9th of April. The CID informed court today statements from 18 people have been recorded over the motorcycle that was used to assassinate Lasantha Wickramatunge.
This case has revealed how the former DIG, who is currently under arrest, acted to steer the true investigation in another direction. The CID also revealed Kumarasiri Hettige, who served under the former president as chief of staff, had visited the prison to visit suspect number 3 without any special permission. They revealed he visited the suspect when he had gone to visit Duminda Silva, who is currently convicted. The CID added this raised suspicions.
Former Army Colonel Alfred Wijayatunga Tilakawatna, who was in charge of the avant-garde floating armory, was arrested and remanded until the 9th of April. He was produced before Galle Chief Magistrate Nishantha Peiris today. Before a month passed by since the Ministry of Law and Order was removed from the previous minister, we are seeing some progressive results. Within this month itself, we saw several individuals linked to crimes being arrested. Udayanga Weeratunga is arrested, and we also saw 2 suspects involved in the Valikada prison massacre being arrested. The colonel, who was the officer in charge of the avant-garde floating armory, is arrested. More information related to the murder of Lasantha Wickramatunge is being unearthed. With the change of ministers, we have seen quicker results. Is this a miracle? What is that the former minister in charge deliberately avoided taking action? We as citizen movements continuously criticized and raised our concerns. Some suspects were in the homes of these people. Some were arrested, some were produced before courts, and after they were bailed out, they were in the houses of ministers. We criticized this continuously. We asked that this change be made within a short period of time. Since this change, we see positive results.
The no confidence motion against the Prime Minister will be taken up in Parliament on the 4th of April. That's just 6 days away. We'll have more on this story after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Well, as mentioned earlier, the no confidence motion against the Prime Minister will be taken up in Parliament on the 4th of April. That's just 6 days away. What will happen to the motion of no confidence? News First Ramesh Irugal Banda brings us an in-depth report on this matter.
The Parliament can be broadly broken up into 7 parts. The UNFGG, or United National Front for Good Governance, led by the UNP, has a total of 105 seats. The UPFA group in the ruling party has 43 seats, while the UPFA group in the joint opposition has 52. The TNA has a total of 16 seats. The JVP has 6, while there are 2 independent MPs and 1 seat is being occupied by the EPDP.
The no confidence motion against the Prime Minister is one of the key political topics being debated at present. This no confidence motion was brought in by the members of the joint opposition and has a number of key points. Now, who are these members of the joint opposition? That is a block of 52 members who are in Parliament. There was one member who did not sign this no confidence motion, and that is former President Mahinda Rajapaksa. However, the joint opposition did receive the support of 3 members from the ruling party, that is the UPFA. They are Nishantha Buthahetigama, TB Ekanayaka and KK Mastan. Now that is the joint opposition who brought in this no confidence motion against the Prime Minister. Who will be supporting the Prime Minister at this no confidence motion vote? That is the United National Party. Now, the United National Party has a total of 105 seats. But there are those who have said or hinted that they might not fully support the Prime Minister at this no confidence motion vote. These members, some of them are Wasantha Senanayaka, Palitha Tevaraperuma and Palitha Range Bandara. So, what about the rest? Now, MP Palitha Range Bandara has said that he has a group of around 27 members within the United National Party who would oppose the Prime Minister when the vote comes in. How will they vote? We are not sure until the vote actually takes place on the 4th of April. Now, as we mentioned in the earlier package, there are 2 members who serve as independent members of Parliament, and they are both from the United National Party. One is Vijaydas Rajapaksa, while the other is Venerable Athuraliye Ratanathero. How will they vote during this no confidence motion? Keep in mind that these 2 members are acting as independent members after being entered into Parliament through the United National Front. Now, over in the UPFA, in the governing bloc, there are a total of 43 seats, 43 votes. Of these 43 votes, 3 have already signed the no confidence motion, and those are the names that I mentioned earlier. What decision will the rest of these members take? So 40 votes up for grabs. There are also some other members who are yet to decide what they are going to do at this no confidence motion vote. Key among them are the JVP. The JVP has not announced what their decision will be. The TNA, led by opposition leader R. Sambandhan, they are saying that the TNA will decide on their final decision on how they will be voting at the no confidence motion on the 2nd of April following a comprehensive meeting. So this is how it stands. The joint opposition has brought in this no confidence motion and the UNP are preparing to oppose it. How the others react will define how this vote swings.
Well, now, how many will vote in the no confidence motion and which way cannot be predicted. On Newsline this morning, News First Ramesh Bandara sought the legal clarification from senior lawyer Gominda Asri on what it will take for the Prime Minister to defeat the motion.
What do you think is the figure that is needed for the Prime Minister to win it?
I think he needs a simple majority. It doesn't matter who the numbers are in Parliament because that is not specified. You have to follow the rules in the House of Commons. And remember, we had a precedent in Sri Lanka when Mrs. Bandaranaike lost and went to polls. And she didn't have the number there because some of the ministers were members of Parliament of her team were not present. One person in fact said he had a car puncture on the way.
+1 on either side wins the vote.
Yes, spot on.
Hypothetically, if the Prime Minister loses this no confidence motion, what will happen to the government?
If he loses confidence, he should no longer remain as Prime Minister. He has to leave. The whole purpose of having resolutions in Parliament of no confidence is the man must resign. Now, Ravi Karunanaike avoided it by resigning early. But if the Prime Minister is defeated, I think as a parliamentarian, I have no doubt he will resign or he will leave office, or the government will, and the opposition will see he no longer heads the Parliament. But we got a funny situation because under the 19th Amendment, I'm now speaking to those good governance kids who somehow I know are hiding in the JVP tent. But where are you? What are you doing? It's your 19th Amendment that is causing chaos because you took away the right of the franchise. The people had the right to vote all the time. Elect the people because it was possible for the President to resolve Parliament on a defeat of the Prime Minister or the government on a no confidence motion, which he cannot do now. He has to go on for 4 years and 6 months. And it's a question of musical chairs. You get rid of one man, then you got to pick another, and continue within the same parliament with the same parliamentarians.
Well, questions were posed to the general public with regard to the no confidence motion through the People's Power online poll on various social media platforms. Here are the latest results.
The Working Committee of the United National Party convened this morning.
The meeting presided by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe focused on the forthcoming no confidence motion.
What I said was that I will support it in principle, but changes within the party must definitely take place. If not, we will not hesitate to take a political decision. There has to be a clear change about the party's future and the candidate for 2020. We informed the working committee that we will also not support a common candidate in any way. We conveyed to the working committee and the Prime Minister that we expect clear and decisive changes we expect will take place.
The Parliament Members Committee and the Working Committee will come to a final conclusion after discussions on reforms scheduled to take place during April 5th, 6th and 7th. It was decided to carry out major reforms before the new year and make an announcement about it. Mark my words, I am saying this with responsibility. This no confidence motion will be defeated. Everybody will come on that day. People you won't even think of will turn up and vote.
Except for one or two people, the UMP will stand together. We are 100% confident of defeating the no confidence motion and moving forward.
පාක්ෂයේ ප්‍රතිසංවිධාන කටයුතු එද්දී ඔබතුමාට කලින් වතාවක නායකත්වයේ බාර ගන්න කියලා යෝජනාවක් ආවා. ඒ වෙලාවේ ඔබතුමා සඳහන් කරා මේක සුදුසු වෙලාව නෙමෙයි කියලා. හැබැයි
Who was it? You who suggested it?
මාධ්‍යයට නෑ ඔබතුමා මාධ්‍යයට සඳහන් කර තිබුණා මේක සුදුසු කාලේ නෙමෙයි කියලා.
Beg your pardon. From where did you get this information? Gossip making the rounds don't transform into action. There are several responsible institutions in the party. One is the convention, another is the executive committee, a third is the working committee. It is proposals raised at these places that get implemented. Never has it been proposed at these institutions. Don't be fooled by gossip. No such proposal was ever made. Now it cannot be done. The party has a leader. Within 3 to 5 days following the 4th, the things discussed will flow from bottom up and down.
Secretary of the United National Freedom Front Attorney at Law Maitri Gunaratne, speaking to reporters this evening, commented on today's UNP Working Committee meeting.
Many anticipated the change that would turn the UMP on its head. But what has the UMP Working Committee said? They will discuss the change after the 5th. All the MPs have been asked to give their support to defeat the motion of no confidence. After the Prime Minister gets his work done, what will happen? It will be another Sudhat Chandrasekhar story. In his letters, Sudhat Chandrasekhar says after the work is done, this man casts them aside. All three of them, including Vijaydas Rajapaksa and Tissa Athanayaka, have been put out. The people cannot expect anything from the UMP Working Committee. The members of the UMP consist of those who would do the things of Ranil Wickremesinghe. They will say aye to whatever Ranil Wickremesinghe says. Therefore, you cannot have any hope on the UMP Working Committee. Join us on the 4th of April. We will march from Kandy to send the Prime Minister packing. We request masses to come join with us.
The United National Party is the single largest political party in the country, and it is the United National Party Working Committee that take all decisions with regard to the party matter. In addition, it is the UMP Working Committee that decides on policies and other programs. Until now, we have revealed 20 names in the Working Committee, and here are 10 other more.
Eran Wickremaratne, Ranjit Madduma Bandara, Kayantha Karunatilaka, Harsha De Silva, Ajit P. Pereira, Anoma Gamage, Palitha Range Bandara, Navin Disanayaka, Wasantha Aluvihare, Dilip Vedarachi.
Minister Field Marshal Saath Fonseca, speaking to reporters today, commented on the present political situation.
අගමැතිතුමාට තිච්ච බලතල ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඉවත් කිරීමක් කරලා ඇමතිවරුන්ට බෙදා දීමක් කරා. ඇයි එහෙම කරන්නේ?
The President has the right to distribute power among the ministers. However, as I am aware, according to the Constitution, the Prime Minister has to have control over finances. Certain monetary powers vested with the Prime Minister were removed. I do not think it was a legal move. This will require intellectual opinion. We are disappointed over some matters. We work together and at times they pull back. There are some SLFP ministers who work with us, but their hearts are somewhere else. They always create issues in our journey. If we do not root out the weeds and go ahead, the general public will have to face the consequences.
Minister S.P. Disanayaka commented on the motion of no confidence today.
The no confidence motion has been moved against the government on certain technicalities. However, it is clear this was moved with the sole intention of one person whose aim is one particular position. If they win the no confidence motion, the Prime Minister and the Cabinet will resign. Based on that, the government will have to appoint a new government and new government of ministers with the President.
That's a wrap of Primetime News. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
I'm Zola Outsgoon. Take care. Good night. And we also apologize for the technical glitch which we faced during the bulletin. You could catch up all the stories that is on www.newsfirst.lk. Good night.